Hi everyone, this is Aaron for Zollotech, and we're going to review the Droid Razr. The Droid Razr is Motorola's flagship device and arguably Verizon's flagship device as well. It's a really nice phone as far as design goes. We'll talk about that in a moment, but let's first talk about the specs. The front display on this is a really nice and vibrant Super AMOLED display at 4.3 inches. It may look small in my hands, but it's actually a pretty large phone. The display has a resolution of 960 by 540, and as you'll see in a moment, is very vibrant when we go ahead and turn this on. It has a nice beveled edge around the outside too, just to add to the overall premium feel of the phone. Internally, we have a 1.2 gigahertz dual core processor, so we have two 1.2 gigahertz cores. We have 1 gigabyte of DDR2 RAM, making this a very fast phone. And we also have a combined total storage of 32 gigabytes. So we have 16 gigabytes internal storage, and we have a 16 gigabyte SD card that fits in this slot here next to the 4G SIM card for Verizon. The back of the phone, we find an 8 megapixel 1080p video camera along with a flash and our speakerphone. The back does not have a battery cover that you can actually remove, and instead has this Kevlar coating that's in the back here. The rest of the frame appears to be aluminum, and we have our forward-facing camera up here, our normal Android buttons down along the bottom with a little microphone. On this side, we have our volume rocker, our power on or sleep wake button. On the top, we have our 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, along with a micro USB and micro HDMI cable port. On this side, we don't really have anything but what I showed before. Nothing on the bottom. You can see it is very thin. We do have another microphone on the back for noise cancellation as well. So overall, the specs are good, but does that make the phone really good? And I would definitely say this is one of the fastest Android phones I've used. So let's go ahead and turn it on. It will take a moment to boot up here. And overall, the design is really nice. It's extremely thin, but it feels very rigid and strong. I don't think that it's going to be an issue over time as far as strength is concerned. We also have Corning Gorilla Glass on the front, so overall it's been designed not to fit in a case, but to be very scratch resistant and strong with the Kevlar back and the Gorilla Glass front. You can see it's booting up here. Nice vibrant screen. There we go. So it's going to come into the home screen here, or the lock screen. We'll go ahead and unlock it in a moment. It has a very responsive display. And there we go. We also have haptic feedback. Now that we're at the home screen, let's go ahead and unlock it. We do have some normal Motorola options that we've been getting on some of their latest phones, like the Bionic. So we have the option to slide this way for camera, change it to silent mode or sound off, or we can unlock it like this. The display is very vibrant, as you can see. It's very responsive. In fact, I'd actually argue that it's the most responsive Android phone I've used as far as the display is concerned. Oftentimes there's some lag or a little bit of slowdown, and I'm not really sure exactly what causes that, but overall it seems to be very responsive. I haven't had any issues. That's one of the areas that I find most Android phones lag behind other touchscreen phones, such as an iPhone or even Windows Phone 7 in this case, but this phone is the most responsive Android phone I've used as far as that goes. Now, as far as the back goes, we don't have a removable battery cover, so some people are concerned about battery life. Well, the battery life is actually pretty good. The first day wasn't so good, but once it kind of burned in or wore in the battery and learned how it works, it actually does a pretty good job of keeping the phone around for an entire day, and then some occasionally, depending on how you use it. So if you're using this on 4G and you have a weak 4G signal, you may experience some pretty poor battery life. But if you're on 3G, as I am right now, it'll go all day without a problem because it has a pretty big battery in the back. It's most of the entire space, but you cannot remove it. Overall, though, the phone's pretty good. So here you can see we have our normal Android screen with a background or wallpaper that Motorola has chosen for this phone. But if I go over here, we have Smart Actions. And Smart Actions they've included on the phone to help you along and set up your phone to save battery. So we have a couple different options. We have a home, work, workout, nighttime battery saver, and these things are used to help you extend the life of your Android device so that you don't run out of battery throughout the day if you don't have access to a battery charger. So you can see there's car and all sorts of different settings. We can go to work, and you can select time and triggers and location triggers. So if it senses that you're at work, it will automatically switch to your work settings. If it senses you're at home via the GPS, it will switch to your home settings. It's pretty convenient and a great idea that some other people should also adopt as well. I think that's a really great way of doing things. You can see battery extender, charging, recovery, and these are all set by you how you'd like to have this set up. So you can set it, wherever you're home, change the brightness on the screen, turn off Wi-Fi, turn on Wi-Fi. You can do all those things, and it's nice that it allows it to do that just based off location. So once you've set it, you don't have to remember it anymore. Now, the overall use of this phone I think is really great. The camera is really nice. It does a great job. I showed this in the unboxing, but it's really fast. If I put my hand behind it here, take a picture, it's taken it already. It's as fast as any other phone on the market. It loads quickly, it pops up, does a good job of taking the video, taking camera pictures, and it's quick. It does a really good job. It's basically the same camera that's in the Bionic, and it's just sped up quite a bit as far as its overall operation. The phone itself really hasn't disappointed at all, other than one area. The entire phone feels extremely solid, except for this button, the sleep wake. The sleep wake button, or on-off button, feels a little flimsy. Everything else feels really solid except that button, and I'm not sure why that is, but it is the one downfall of the phone. Other than that, though, I really haven't seen anybody that's been unimpressed by this phone. Most of them think it's really nice. It's incredibly thin. In fact, I'll show you my iPhone next to it, if this will stay in focus here. I'll show you my iPhone next to it. We have, it looks thick almost, or the iPhone looks a little bit thick almost next to the Razr, which is very impressive, as this is already a really thin phone. So the Razr itself lives up to its name as far as Razr thin goes, with the exception of this little bump on the back, but it's so thin still that it's really not an issue at all. Overall, the phone is great. I'd highly recommend it to just about anybody looking for an Android phone, unless the screen is a little bit too large. Other than that, it's a no-brainer on Verizon if you're going for Android that this is the device to get. It also has some great accessories, a dock, a laptop dock if you're looking for that kind of turns this into a little netbook type computer that we'll take a look at it in another review. I've already unboxed it and showed you that a little bit in some of the other videos I've done. But overall, the phone is great. Again, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely worth checking out if you're looking for an Android device. Super fast, super responsive, nice to use, very thin, pretty light too, and a great experience as far as Android's concerned. If you have any questions that I haven't answered with the review, please go ahead and leave that in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.